Welcome to Fall in the Field. Today in this lesson we will be exploring how energy moves throughout the farm. But first we're going to look closely at how energy moves through a plant and the plant's life cycle. So I'm going to draw the life cycle of a plant on this whiteboard. What plant should I draw?
Let's draw a squash.
Perfect. So first we need to start with how the plant starts. How does a plant start?
As a seed.
Oh, right. Has anyone ever eaten a pumpkin seed? They look like that. So a farmer would plant the seed underground, and they would plant this seed in the spring after the last frost when it's warm enough. And then this seed would start to grow, and the first thing it would grow would be a root. So it starts growing the roots, and at this point the energy all came from within the seed. But then once it grows its roots, it starts to get energy from the soil. So it has a bunch of nutrients in the soil, and it also has water. And the seed grows and grows. It starts to grow a sprout. And it sprouts up and grows two little leaves. Then it starts to get its energy from somewhere else. Where does a plant get its energy?
The sun.
Oh, right. The leaves absorb the energy from the sun, and the plant does a fancy process called photosynthesis. And this is how it creates its own food and energy. And then it uses this energy from the sun to grow and grow. It grows more and more leaves, and it's still getting its energy from the sun and the soil and the nutrients and the water from the soil too. And later in the season, once it's warm enough in the summer, the plant starts to grow. What comes next after the leaves?
The flower.
So it starts to grow some flowers. And the flower smells really good, and it starts to attract a visitor. So has anyone ever seen a visitor to the plant? What likes to come to the flowers?
A bee.
So the bee comes, and it comes to the flower for its food. It gets its energy from the nectar and the pollen, and it gets some pollen on its legs, and it travels from flower to flower, and this helps the flower. Does anyone know what it's called? What a bee helps the flower do?
I do. It pollinates the flower.
Yeah, and this pollinates, it turns the flower into a fruit. So this is turning into a pumpkin, and it's starting to grow bigger and bigger. And it's still getting its energy from the sun and photosynthesis and from the nutrients in the soil. And finally it grows into a big ripe pumpkin. Now, what season do pumpkins grow?
In the fall.
Yeah, so in the fall, you might have gone and picked some pumpkins. Some of you might have carved a pumpkin, and inside the pumpkin, if you had opened it up, you would find more pumpkin seeds. And so if this pumpkin wasn't ever picked and it just started to decompose on the ground and sit there they turn really gross, kind of. And they would leave their seeds in the ground. And this whole cycle would start over again.
Hi there. So now that we've talked about the life cycle of a plant, let's take a closer look at the different parts of a squash plant. Here are some squash plants growing in the greenhouse. Underneath the soil, the roots are growing. Above the soil, you can see the stem here and a big leaf on top. Here are the flowers that will get pollinated to create the fruit, which you can see here. And within the fruit are the many seeds of the squash plant. Although we looked at one plant that we eat, humans eat many different plants and their parts, like these. In the next video, you are going to play a game and you are going to guess the different parts of the plant that we eat.